Howdy, my name is Anashi Sasuke, and welcome back to Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In this episode, we're going to be checking out a dead language, a field of stone, functioning scarificator, somebody else's mess, and a dream syringe. So, a dead language. Is it going to be a dead language like something Latin or dead people talking? It's Euclid, and it's a statue, so it's probably that second thing. It says a SCP-1391 object containing no instance of 1390, similarity to the third stage 2 subjects redacted. All documents containing samples of 1390 and the accompanying reports are to be kept in a standard safe located at Site 73. 73 encompasses the entirety of the island of somewhere off the coast of Greece, which is currently believed to be the site of a nuclear testing installation. Any civilians near the island's coast or found on the land are to be detained by on-site security personnel and interrogated for knowledge of 1390, administered a Class B amnestic, and sent back to the mainland. Instances of SCP-1390-1 are to be cataloged and then incinerated immediately. Samples of 1390 found on the objects are classified as extreme memetic hazards and only to be viewed by 2. MTF Epsilon 13, aka Grammar Police, are to be sent to any area where an archaeological dig has uncovered a 1 object or an instance of 2 has been cited. MTF E13 is authorized to administer Class B amnestics and terminate 2 subjects as necessary. Foundation moles are to monitor anthropology or linguistics departments of major universities for any research into 1390. Any attempts to study 1390 are to be made by D-class translators, specially screened for linguistic skill. These researchers are exempt from monthly termination procedures. They are to be granted unconditional access to the catalog of 1 objects and facsimiles of 1390 research. D-class translators are to make a detailed report of their findings without using any written examples of 1390, delivered once every week. Subjects are to be terminated before reaching the 3rd stage of infection. All 3rd stage subjects represent an exponentially increased cognito hazard. As of Incident 1390-1, no Foundation researcher is to directly study 1390. As of Incident 2, all material generated by world governments are to be monitored for SCP-1390. All results are to be sent to Site 73. Any instances of 2 found in these areas are to be terminated and brought to Site 73 for autopsy. If these 2 subjects have had no contact with 1 object, special containment procedures are to be revised immediately. Description: SCP-1390 is a grammatical structure only exhibited in a dead language of the blank civilization of the island of somewhere. While records indicate no mass migration, artifacts containing instances of 1390, known as 1, have been found in such varied areas as the Mongolian steppes, the Hindu Kush of northern Pakistan, which is apparently SCP-2518, the Apennines, and the coast of Brazil. Research suggests that data expunged. I haven't seen that written out in a while. See Document A with Level 5 security clearance. 1 objects resemble period art created by contemporaneous Mediterranean civilizations. No 1 objects are anomalous themselves and can therefore be classified as safe. Instances of 2 are created through any contact or meaningful knowledge of this syntactical structure of 1390. Of the individuals exposed to 1390, 60% become interested, almost obsessed, with decoding and studying the language's syntax. Of this number, 95% progress to late-stage symptoms and can be accurately designated 2. 1390 infection occurs in a greater rate of individuals who show interest in the mechanics of language, and the infection proceeds more swiftly in subjects who are fluent in more than blank languages. The first stage of 1390 infection manifests in an increased aversion to incorrect grammar. Subjects who were previously shown to be indifferent to grammatical errors react strongly to mistakes. This stage is innocuous, and subjects seek to correct the grammar of those around them. 2 individuals at this stage report a feeling of contentment when correcting grammar. Analysis of CT scans performed on first stage subjects have shown electrical and neurological responses similar to opiate usage. The need to correct grammar becomes progressively stronger, resulting in laconic withdrawal when denied. Stage 1 can last from blank days to blank years. Near the end of the first stage, 2 subjects will claim to be growing wings on their backs, thighs, or face. All autopsies performed on Stage 1 individuals show no sign of wing development. In the second stage, all language and grammar that differ from 1390 are treated as being incorrect. Two subjects begin hearing or reading any other language as being like shitting in church, or in one case, like the fires of God in her eyes and tongue. Individuals will refuse to communicate through any other method than 1390, although apply it to the language they are most comfortable with, and are to be treated as mental hazards. Two subjects in this stage are terminated due to their tendency to infect others. Sufferers of Stage 2 infection cite a lack of pleasure gleaned from hearing bad grammar. Stage 2 subjects are highly volatile, as Stage 2 lasts only blank to blank days. All autopsies performed on Stage 2 individuals show no sign of wing development. Progress into the third stage is marked by the subject's tendency towards referring to themselves with one of two grammatical genders only contained in 1390. The sex of two individuals is in no way a determining factor for which gender is chosen. The third stage results in data expunged. See document B for an analysis of the physical and anomalous qualities of third stage 2 subjects. It is currently unknown if 1390 infection progresses beyond the third stage due to the cognitohazard that second and third stage 2 subjects express. Let's check out their clearance. Cognitohazard warning. I feel like you should have said that before clicking the clearance button, but okay. Addendum 1. The language of the blank civilization is a previously unrecorded dead language, though similarities in form and vocabulary have been noted in Hadza, Lekko, Korean, and Esperanto. The language itself contains no anomalous properties, even when a collection of words is used to create a sentence with incorrect grammar. Words of other languages placed into the 1390 structure retain anomalous properties. Like Latin and other languages, nouns are declined in gender and case. 1390, however, contains two unknown genders differing from the neuter, masculine, and feminine of most languages, but their role in the language is not well understood. Instances of two refuse to explain their purpose, although researchers theorize that redacted. The cases, while conforming to the expected nominative, accusative, genitive, dative, locative, instrumental, and prepositional, contain unknown instances that researchers have dubbed the xenophobic, the dimensional, and the temporal. See document C for a full report on the minutiae of 1390. It's probably not actually here. Addendum 2. Foundation personnel assigned to study the culture of the blank civilization report that 1390 did not grow and mature along the usual paths of human language. While forms of ancient Greek were spoken by the civilization during its infancy, the language of 1390 appeared fully formed around blank BCE. Artifacts dated to that period tell of a ruler, referred to only as the Wise or Sagely One, who came from the Outlands to teach the people to be civilized. Of note is that the all records and artifacts of the civilization ceased 50 years after this time, and there's evidence that the blank culture wiped itself out with what is described in one object as a destruction of untranslated and the simple ordered by this ruler. Artistic portrayals of the Wise One show a humanoid figure with a variable number of wings growing from its back. Following its appearance, the rate of winged humanoid figures increased drastically in one object. It used to say it is unclear what symbolic significance is held by these wings, revised as of Incident 1, see Document B. Well, here's Incident 1. Site director Kevoli, after being found to be infected, was allowed to keep studying the grammatical structure by approval of O5 blank and was designated to A. His last communication not written in the anomalous grammatical structure is as follows. It is the language of the angels given to us as a kindness. I wish to share it with the world. 2A's first stage lasted an accelerated period of blank days, and his second stage resulted in the infection of 12 personnel. At his third stage, data expunged. See Document B. The subject's rate of infection, resulting in the subsequent infection of 86 personnel, is theorized to be due to his substantial intelligence, curiosity, and status as a hyper-polyglot? Polyglot? His research represented a significant cognitohazard and further infected blank more Foundation researchers. 2A was neutralized by MTF-E13 operative. It is theorized that a two-subject left undiscovered at a university could result in a blank K level scenario. I mean XK, because there's really just the one. Incident 2. Foundation mole situated in l'Académie Française, I guess the University of France, reported a possible instance of 2 when one of the Les Immortels became increasingly agitated, angrily correcting others' grammar when he had previously been known to be quiet and reserved. Moles reported that the subject had been petitioning to change the French language into what he called a pure form, which was found to be close to the grammatical structure of 1390. The subject was neutralized via facilitated suicide. All individuals close to the subject were given Class B amnestics. The subject was found to have no contact with any area previously shown to produce instances of 1390, nor did any of his papers express knowledge of the culture. Based on reviews of his diary, the subject had 1390 come to him in a dream like the calls of a kind god, fluttering and folding around him like wings of a great protector. He later expressed a wish to show the beauty and truth of pure, unfettered thought and claimed to be sprouting wings. Autopsy seeds from French medical practitioners showed no sign of such transformation. Status as a first stage 2 subject confirmed. SCP-1390 seems to appear fully formed in some 2 subjects without any outside interference. Changes made to theories present in Document A. So not gonna lie, this one sounds like it could have been a SCP-001, but I guess it's not. Alright, so next up is a Field of Stone, which is safe. SCP-1391 is to be surrounded by a 3-meter tall barbed wire fence. That doesn't sound safe. A guard force under the guise of local Anishinaabe tribal security is to maintain continual, it used to say eternal, external patrols in the vicinity of 1391, and report any damage for immediate repair and further observation for subsequent attempted breaches. Any civilians approaching the exclusion zone are to be notified that they are trespassing on protected, unceded Anishinaabe lands and escorted from the area. Civilians displaying resistance or refusal are to be detained, treated with Class C amnestic, and relocated to the nearest population center. Alright. SCP-1391 is a 12-hectare parcel of land somewhere in Canada that borders on the Algonquin Reserve lands under protected status. The land was previously owned by someone who was an art professor. On the property are, upon last inspection, 137 large concrete abstract depictions of screaming heads. Engraved on each side of the heads near the bottom are a name and date later determined to be the designated individual's state of death. Foundation investigation has uniformly determined that names sourced from the stones match those of individuals who have at some point visited the location. Of note is the observation that stones bearing the names of suicide victims are variously disfigured. It has been determined through corroboration of death records and incidental observation that the heads appear at or around the time of death of the individual named on a given statue. The stones have been noted to uniformly appear in locations not under current observation, such as around the perimeter fence or observation posts. Due to an apparent tendency for stones belonging to individuals with similar causes of death to group together, efforts by Foundation personnel to observe formation of a stone focused on these areas. Right. Despite more intense observation, these efforts were ultimately futile, with new heads in some cases manifesting between frames of CCTV footage, or in one notable case in the blink of an eye, as reported by a dismounted patrol element. Addendum A. Acquisition. Interviews of the previous owners show that blank blank purchased the property in the summer at some point, with the stated intention of using it as a retreat for his art students. Following his wife's death during renovation of the property, Mr. Blank discovered a concrete head bearing her name approximately 400 meters from a centrally located barn. Upon examination of more remote sections of the property, he discovered hundreds of the heads. Patrols of the site corroborate his testimony that in most instances the heads were partially or completely destroyed, with most showing signs of weathering and disrepair. Mr. Blank made the decision to market excursions of the land as an evolving memorial to local personages. The object drew the Foundation's attention following a legal proceeding between Mr. Blank and a visitor to the property. A disagreement broke out when the visitor discovered his daughter's name on a stone, despite her having visited the property only once and never having spoken to the owner. During an interview with a local asset, Mr. Blank admitted that he had only built a handful of the heads himself and offered to mark those from the ones that spontaneously manifested. The Foundation assumed ownership of the land through what was publicly labeled as a transfer of property rights to the adjacent Anishinaabe tribe. To maintain deniability, Mr. Blank was administered a Class B amnestic, compensated, and returned to society. Addendum B. As of blank, no additional personnel are to be assigned to internal security operations involving 1391. Probably so that their heads don't pop up in there. I briefly zoned out while I was in the process of reading because this reminded me of, like, the end of part 5 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The chapter before the end. But it's not important to go into that right now. Next up is the functioning scarificator, which sounds like it's either something that gives you scars or something that scares you. I don't know. It's that missing letter E that makes the difference. What the heck? What? When was this written? What is happening? This was written... It was last edited June 26, 2023. Is this what the website looks like now if it was written this year? What the heck? 1392. It says it's safe, but there's a picture, pre-containment image seized from the original owner. SCP-1392 is secured in a standard safe class item storage container. Site physicians may submit treatment requests on behalf of employees. If approved, use of 1392 must be strictly monitored by a medical professional. In the event of hemorrhage, a prompt blood transfusion must be performed to prevent neurological damage. Dang. Consult Medoc 1392-1 for treatment duration tables by disease, weight, and current chromosomal sex. SCP-1392 is a scarificator constructed in the 19th century. It is primarily composed of brass and ebony, the cutting edge of surgical grade stainless steel. Okay, so it causes scars. Okay. It is operated by pressing the slotted grade of the scarificator to bare skin and releasing the cutting blades. This punctures the skin, creating small incisions through which blood exits. Wounds and bleeding inflicted by 1392 are consistent with the Hippocratic theory of medicine and display etiological and symptomatic curative properties on diseases treatable by exsanguination under Hippocratic theory. Blood loss induced by 1392 has a curative effect on many diseases historically believed to arise from an imbalance of humors in the body. The number of treatments necessary for total cures relative to the severity of the illness. The current list of approved treatments and dosages is in Medoc 1392. So it sounds like this is basically a machine that, like, when they would say you need leeches so that they can bleed you so that you get healthier again, it sounds like it's that. 1392 cannot be used to totally exsanguinate a subject. Its secondary effect replaces blood lost to its primary effect with an equivalent amount of deoxygenated blood once the subject loses over 15 to 20% of total blood by volume. However, the secondary effect cannot restore blood beyond this amount, leading to sustained hypotension. Blood damage or brain death will follow unless the blood is replaced through mundane transfusion. 1392 cannot compensate for losses in deep vein or arterial bleeding. Addenda, further investigations into 1392. The following correspondence pertaining to the further investigation and analysis of 1392 has been attached, pending finalization of A and full Ethics Committee approval. Full documentation is available upon request. To Department of Sciences Local from Dr. Collins, subject Alchemy info request. To whom it may concern, I'm performing further investigation into SCP-1392, the details of which are attached. Our current leads are that it was made by a naturopath, who may have reality warping or thaumaturgic abilities, and we'd like to conduct a deeper investigation on possible connections. Based on my prior experiences and discussions with investigated individuals, I think there may be an alchemical component. Is there any chance you have a contact in the Foundation Department of Alchemy that you can connect me with? Can you help me consult an alchemist, as it were? Thanks, Dr. Collins. To Dr. Collins from... them? Alchemy request. Okay, so... Hi, Dr. Collins. The Department of Alchemy is in fact inappropriate. They do not deal with traditional Western alchemy so much as an innovation on top of it. Consultant alchemist is a joke because Foundation alchemists are largely practitioners of etheric arts instead of capable of providing any level of academic insight. The alchemy of the Alchemy Department has as much in common with historical Western Islamic or Taoist alchemy as our memetics departments have with 9gag or Know Your Meme. We have other alchemy specialists, but rest assured that none of them are in the alchemy department. I've contacted my colleagues at other sites, and I've got a list of people who might be able to help you. Site 43 has Dr. William Weddle replication studies. They can give you a high level of what you need to test if your anomaly is tied to the artifact or if it's a previously undiscovered property of all scarificators. Site 184 has Madame Laurier presumptive divination. Her specialties include if the SCP net dossiers are up to date, blood magic, and Site 91 has Dr. Jocasta Rossi thaumaturgical research. Site 91 had close encounters with Davite and Sarkic groups, both of whom are deeply intertwined with blood magic. Furthermore, my colleagues think that there's a possibility of connections to Alagata. If they think that's a genuine possibility, they can walk you through the bureaucratic hoops you need to learn more. If you still need more, please reach out to Ryza, and they can run a full database lookup for possible cross-links, but this is likely to only bear fruit if there are identical anomalies in the database. Anything more granular, and you'd be speaking with their experts directly, and they're almost impossible to get a hold of. Thanks, Dr. Ifalai, Department of Sciences. Let's see. Hecaton Sherry Cycle Hub. What? What? What is this? Project Hecaton Cherries was officially approved by the O5 Council, but the origins go much further than that. There's another one? Oh, good God. Let me bookmark this. I'm coming back to that at some point, but for now, to Dr. Collins from Dr. William Weddle. William W. Weddle. www.doctor. Let's see. Oh, Collins is a Ms. Excuse me. I did not know. Hi, Ms. Collins. Thank you for sending over the test results on the steel, ebony, and brass. I must say that they're really giving junior researchers a lot of responsibility these days. Anyways, following up on all our other scarificators, same original make timing model. To reiterate, before we got our in-house shrink to test it on a few patients and it wasn't any better than placebo, I refurbished the closest original make year and model scarificator with the closest materials to what you sent over. Nada. What you have is unique, and we can rule out scarificators being special for now. Shocking absolutely no one. Medical science has not been sleeping on humorism for the past 200 years. Did you really expect anything different? I gotta ask, that bleeding thing? The whole thing about blood pressure and permanent brain damage, I assume you tested that on a pig or something, right? Sincerely, Dr. Weddle, PhD replication. From Madame Laurier. Dr. Collins, I've had the opportunity to examine the blood you provided. It's quite curious. You said this came from a human being, yet I see none of the hallmarks of humanity. A human's blood, a living sample, is a record of their life. As above, so below. The part gives insights into the whole. The red veins are a woven tapestry that flows from past to present to future. In each of us it pulses and pushes us forward through the morass of time. What you sent is almost sterile. I can see faint traces of a life lived through the blood, but it is disparate. A few flashes of memory and the briefest of insights, but nothing like the rich cacophony of potential, the twisted bundle of futures and blood from a living man. I see unnatural unlife where possibility narrows. I see the red veins stretch not into a tapestry, but a single cord far beyond a single lifetime. That's where my knowledge ends. I've looked at the SCP documentation you provided, a healer's tool to give life, not to stretch it beyond nature. In history, tools of this sort took sacred metaphor, treated it as medical truth, and it did little good. Yet here's a literalization of humorism and alchemic theory, the holy secrets that dwell in the deep and unspoken places of this world, bound to a mundane implement, an unholy marriage that debases the sacral, that rejects deeper truth for practical utility, the great work made small. In plain speech, it is unnatural. It's not the order of things. I cannot recreate it, and I feel it should not be recreated. I must wonder if he who gave this blood, how his life will be stretched out in such an unnatural way, but I understand our level of secrecy, for I am a practitioner of the alchemical arts. Okay, from this person again, reread. Hey, Dr. Collins, just wanted to add a note on to what Madame Laurier said. You'll definitely want to speak to Dr. Rossi. Red veins, a single cord, far beyond a single lifetime. I can't give you full clearance for why you should speak to Dr. Rossi, but forward Laurier's results to her, she'll understand. Dear Dr. Collins, I've checked with your HCML supervisor and cleared you to know about the following 2 locations / groups of interest at a very high level. Do not forward this email. Alagata is a pseudo-Venetian city-state adjacent to our reality. The original access point was created by an English alchemist, which you may find relevant. It is ruled by 4 lords, yellow, white, black, and red, each corresponding to one of the 4 humors. Alagata may well be the epitome of what Madame Laurier described, a literalization of alchemic theory that debases the sacral for practical utility. It is a hedonist paradise, and we've recovered other Alagatan blood-related anomalies. Despite that, I doubt 1392 has any relation. All Alagatan artifacts have a unique aesthetic. They are solely in shades of red, yellow, white, or black. On an aesthetic level, 1392 can only barely be said to be that, and according to what you've provided, 1392 didn't have its properties until a human refurbished it using mundane materials. The Davites are an anomalous civilization that utilizes blood magic. At the time of writing, they went extinct roughly 1,000 years ago. Their history is largely stagnant, with the excesses of their early years remaining through their evolution, which is why I presume the Department of Sciences told you to highlight Laurier's comment about an unnaturally extended lifetime. Frankly, I don't see it. A civilization's history is very different from a single life. The similarities are superficial. In summary, it is very, very unlikely your mystery woman is an Alagatan or Davite refugee privy to lost, suppressed knowledge, and far more likely they are a wizard or a reality warper of some kind. It's far more likely that this is an isolated anomaly, not an undiscovered system. Sincerely, Dr. Tsukasa Rossi. From Dr. August Solstice. These don't feel like real names. Researcher Collins, as of noon today, the preliminary investigation of SCP-1392 is finished. We're at the end of our stated timeline, and we've exhausted our budget. I understand your frustration. In our work, we see glimpses of a greater world denied to mundane science, so we think it must all be connected. But despite that, sometimes there are no grand connections. Sometimes, no matter how much time and effort we pour into our work, there are no connections to be found. Sometimes the anomalies are just anomalous. It's easy to lose yourself in this work and scope of the grander vision, but remember, our duty is not to investigate the minutiae of every anomaly to its fundamentals, but to secure, contain, and protect. 1392 was your passion project. Don't let it become your last project. There is one actual lead in this investigation, the witch or naturopath or mage that made that tool, but that literal witch hunt is someone else's problem. It's time to move on. Dr. Solstice. Dr. Solstice, am I being barred from working with 1392? Sincerely, Dr. Collins. Collins, as a medical researcher, you are permitted access to 1392. However, you will be expected to be working full-time on any other projects you are assigned to. If your interest in 1392 hurts your performance on other projects, you will be held responsible. If you're found to be redirecting funds from other projects to investigate 1392, you will be held responsible. If you take actions outside of your job duties and it leads to a containment breach, you will be held responsible. The Foundation has determined it has no need to fund further research into 1392. Do not foresee that changing unless you prove otherwise on a shoestring budget. Dr. Solstice. Dr. Solstice, please see attached my draft for proposed additions to the 1392 file given the recent preliminary ethics committee approval. Thanks, Researcher Collins. What's the time skip between that? It went from December 24th, 2013 to March 21st, 2014. SCP-1392-A. SCP-1392-A is the body of a human male, previous designation D02842. He was rendered clinically brain dead during routine initial testing of 1392. A has a blood type of O negative, colloquially referred to as the universal donor. It's connected to a mechanical ventilator and requires no other equipment to support biological functions given the properties of 1392. A sustainably produces O negative blood at a rate of approximately 1,000 milliliters per hour. This blood contains no pathogens and is metaphysically inert. Blood produced from A can be used in medical transfusions to most human subjects, but is categorically unsuitable for ritual purposes and containment procedures following performance of such. The output of A is used to supplement Foundation blood banks. Foundation personnel suffering from irrecoverable neurological damage in the course of their duties may be selected as further instances of A on a case-by-case basis in lieu of humane euthanasia. Collins, good work! Waste not, want not, Dr. Solstice. Alright, well that was weird all the way around. But now we have a whole new big giant thing to read in SCP Sidestep. Haven't touched SCP Sidestep in a long time, but ooh boy, is it gonna be something hopping into that at some point. Somebody else's mess indeed. This one is Euclid. The property surrounding SCP-1393, formerly owned by the J.W. and Sons Corporation, is to be designated Site-97. Mobile Task Force Beta-7, aka Maz Hatters, are to be tasked with cleanup operations and on-site security. It used to say it's to be buried with an adequate amount of earth to neutralize its active effect. Now it says material produced by 1393 is to be handled as detailed in the standard protocols for extrinsic hazardous materials. The material will need to be mixed with moist clay earth at a ratio of 3:1 before being hauled away to be properly disposed of on site. Disposal will consist of hauling the materials to the northwest corner of Site-97 and spread across the ground. Once cooled, a 30-centimeter layer of clay earth will be spread on top. Further reclamation plans will consist of converting Site-97 into a shipping container storage yard once cleanup operations have completed. Samples of the material produced by 1393 will need to be collected and sent to Research Site-45 for scheduled bi-weekly testing. Description: SCP-1393 is a spherical portal measuring 1.8 meters in diameter and positioned 10 centimeters above the ground. It has remained active since February 17, 2013, 2 days after its initial sighting. While active, it continually exudes a partially vitreous slag-like substance from its surface at a rate of 12 meters per hour. This material's temperature has been measured to range from 1500 to 1800 degrees Celsius. Roughly 85% of this material is primarily composed of a combination of silica, quicklime, alumina, sodium borate, and magnesite. Traces of mercury, uranium, phosphorus, sulfur, radium, and other toxic elements in varying amounts have also been detected. Before 1393 entered its current active state, a humanoid being designated 1 was observed performing reconnaissance and surveying of the immediate area. 1 is reported wearing a Type A level A Type 1 hazmat suit equipped with a polarized face shield and a SCBA unit. The Foundation was contacted about the event, and 1 was interviewed about its actions and purpose. To date, 1 has not been seen since it activated. Alright, so first up is the interview between 1 and Dr. Herman Muntz. Muntz, accompanied by 8 field agents, approached 1. 1 is observed packing instruments and other equipment into cases and preparing to leave. Excuse me, sir? Excuse me? Listen, pal, I really don't have the time. I'm busy. Well, can I ask you a few questions? Whatever. Fine. Just let me finish what I'm doing. I gotta wrap up 5 other duplicates today, or else my boss is gonna bite another chunk out of my ass for taking overtime. What's all this equipment for? It's for surveying. Well, why are you surveying? Look, it's just procedure, alright. I'm just here to... A beeping can be heard inside the suit. Hold up a sec, buddy. I have to take this. What's up? Nothing, just here with some locals. What do you mean, what do they look like? Ugh, God damn it, Jimmy. You ask me the same stupid fucking question every time we're assigned together. Who cares if they look funny? Just prime the fucking system, would you? I'd like to take my lunch hour after we finish here. Fucking new hires. Look, bub. I really don't have the time. If you want to file an official complaint or talk to the on-shift supervisor, here's a business card. Hands an 85mm by 55mm paper card before walking towards 1393 with equipment. By the way, you guys might want to clear out. Hey, wait, hold on a minute! As heard from the other side of 1393. Okay, Jimmy, open her up! Loud mechanical noises are heard emanating from 1393 while Dr. Munson and agents evacuate the area. Shortly after the interview, 1393 became active. Alright. Similarities between 1393 and 364 have been noted. Factoring in 2493-1's account, it suggests the possibility of extra-dimensional disposal of materials as a common practice. Let's see. Scanned image of the business card. Earth Prime Waste Management Services and Solutions, a subsidiary of Gaia Inc. Location, Greater Metropolis Area, District 94761, Building 912, Contact 23100AIO 56.8898, and then some other stuff. Looks kind of like the AT&T logo. Okie dokie, and that brings us to the Dream Syringe. Ooh. Alongside its original case. I don't like how that looks. Like, I don't know if y'all know how it feels to touch antique rusty metal, but it looks like it feels like that. SCP-1394 is to be kept in a standard security locker at Site-19. Subjects injected with it should be confined to a testing room while asleep and should be kept at Site-19 afterwards for further observation. Testing of 1394 has been halted temporarily. Consult interview D-1394-5D for details. It's a lot of D. SCP-1394 is an ornate brass syringe dating back to the early 1600s. When fully assembled, it will fill with a saline solution at a rate of 1 milliliter per minute until full. When it is used to inject this saline solution into a patient afflicted with a disease or condition, they will begin to sleepwalk 4 minutes after their next onset of REM sleep. They cannot be woken for the next 40 minutes and will wake upon the conclusion of this time period. While sleepwalking, subjects will experience a dream that accurately simulates their surrounding environment, except for the presence of various medications and medical devices in the vicinity. The subjects report involuntarily using these devices in the dream to perform a medical procedure on themselves with the intent to cure or alleviate the condition in question. The actions they describe correspond to actions taken during sleepwalking. Medical procedures performed under 1394's influence only somewhat correspond to appropriate or real-life medical treatments and will often entail the use of medical implements whose function is unknown. Subjects who perform a medical procedure on themselves under the influence experience a partial alleviation of the disease or condition, which typically entails the return of superficial functioning of the affected body part despite the continuation of the ailment, as well as agnosia towards associated symptoms. See the testing log for further details. Okay, so the first person had cancer in their left lung. The procedure was self-administering anesthetic before performing a lobectomy and a medically appropriate, if drastically accelerated, action. Notably, the subject did not report any blood loss and no precautions were taken to prevent it. Result: standard lung function is returned, despite the presence of a tumor that would normally prevent lung function. Shortness of breath, fatigue, and chest pain were alleviated. Subject was unaware of his persistent cough and wheezing, and attributed the interruptions in his speech to fits of narcolepsy. They died 4 months later after the cancer metastasized to other organs. Narcolepsy. They used the needle to administer several injections of fine black sand into the eyeballs, forehead, and chest. This was described as uncomfortable and painful. They continued to experience narcolepsy. During periods of cataplexy associated with the condition, they will remain in an upright position despite the relaxation of the muscles. The force responsible for this has not been identified. They will sleepwalk during daytime sleep and believe that her associated dreams are genuine, temporary changes to local reality. 3. Missing her upper left central incisor. An appropriate dental implant was placed near 3 prior to sleep. Reported using the implant to replace the missing tooth and sealing it in place with an unidentified blue adhesive. The implant was not used in reality. 3 was capable of biting and chewing as though the missing tooth were present, though the subject's speech remained mildly impaired. 3 perceived the implant to be present and reported no change after it was actually implanted. Missing left hand. Reported immersing his left arm in a vat of cold, white, viscous liquid for roughly 40 minutes. With practice, 4 was able to develop a form of telekinesis roughly equivalent to a left hand of normal strength. The subject is capable of manipulating objects that are behind physical barriers and experiences no ill effects from handling harmful objects. This ability only functions if the subject is observing the items being manipulated. Interruptions caused by blinking typically result in the object dropping any held items. The subject reports possessing a left hand made of an unidentified white solid. 5. Blind since age 2. reported using a metal syringe to inject herself with a very hot liquid, then falling asleep 35 minutes later. Result remains in REM sleep, and all attempts to wake her have been ineffective. However, the subject's dreams closely resemble reality, and she is fully somnambulant, enabling communication with researchers. See interview log D13945C for further information. Okay. The following interview was conducted with 5 17 hours after exposure to 1394 to assess medium-term consequences of her actions. Good evening, 5. Mind if I sit here? Yeah, whatever. First things first, are you still capable of sight? I guess. That's good to hear. Could you do me a favor? Sure. Puts 1394 on the table in front of 5. Could you pick this up and tell me whether it's the syringe you used in that dream? She picks it up. Yeah, wait, this is the exact pattern it had. How did you get this? That's sort of a long story. Oh my god, am I still dreaming? Technically, yes, but becoming agitated. Fuck, what did you do to me? Please calm down and let me wait, is this what you used on me yesterday too? Slams it against the corner of the table repeatedly. It experiences minor inconsequential damage. Security personnel enter the room and restrain 5, retrieving 1394. Five's arm makes movements as if to continue this action. Now, if you would let me finish, you are dreaming, but your dreams are, or were, a very close match to reality. Do you understand? No! You can't make me! Nobody's making you do anything. I'm not using it again! Why won't this fucking thing break? 5, can you hear me? Why does it have to be me? I think we're done here. Security! And what's in it for me? Why should I believe you? 5's dreams remain divergent from reality. The subject does not perceive any attempt to remove 1394 from her possession, and believes that personnel are continually exhorting her to inject herself with it for reasons that are currently unclear. Has been retained indefinitely for further observation. And then this one. 2 days following the interview with C, 5 addressed a maintenance worker instructing him to locate Dr. Braun. The following interview took place upon his arrival. I need you to repeat everything I'm saying to you. Sorry, what? Good. Can you hear me, 5? You need to use it on someone more cooperative. This one isn't working. Sorry, what are you alright. Silence for 13 seconds. Keep going. We have so much to offer you. We left our medicine and your dreams for you. But you need us to use it. I mean the syringe on someone else. That's right. She can't be the bridge between us if she won't come to us. Find someone else with no vision. Make them use the key 3... Wait, hold up. Are you still there? Oh my god, they can hear me, can't they? I'm talking in my sleep. How stupid do you think I am? Hell, these guys aren't... Begins to experience muscle spasms before opening her eyes and becoming rigid. No further communication was successful. 5 remains in a fetal position. Attempts to alter her posture, including those involving heavy application of force, have failed. 5 responds to visual stimuli, but exhibits no signs of consciousness. Samples indicate that 5's blood contains 12% black sand by volume. A further attempt at communication by MTF Omicron Rho with the entities encountered has been proposed. Okay. So, we've had, what, 2 SCPs in this episode that are different realities? Alright, sure, cool, whatever. That's going to do it for this episode of Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In the next episode, we're going to be checking out Cave Apparition, Jovian Kill Sats, A Failed Work of Art, Hateful Dead, and Another Way of Hearing, and that's going to cap off the 1300s finally. Only took, what, 2 years? If you liked it, a like and a subscribe will be groovy. If you didn't, you need to do either one of those things. If you want to do that as well, I said backwards. If you want to click the bell, you can do that as well. And I will see y'all in the next one. I missed some stuff. Later.